Congratulations, you just won the Founder of the Year Award 2026. How was it to be on stage, to be honored with this award?
Well, first of all, thank you very much. And yes, it is an honor. I mean, I studied here, and it's cool to come back like 20 years later to your own university and have the headmaster handing you an award for, let's say, what I have done so far in my life. So yeah, definitely a great feeling. Yeah.
Incredible that you came back. How is it to be back in St. Gallen to experience the spirit here at Start Summit?
I mean, I like Start Summit a lot, and what you should know is when I started to study was 1998. This was when Start was pretty much established. I think it was the second year or something like that of Start. It was already then cool, much smaller, of course. Yeah? So to see that entrepreneurship now really is a major part of a university curriculum and takes place, as one of the important events each year, that's super cool. Because at that time, 1998, it was, there is the startup guys. It's like, nice, but who's interested? Not really. So now I think, center stage in the university is also entrepreneurship. And I think that is a super cool development. Yeah.
That's incredible. You shared with me earlier that you went to the Start Summit 1999 and you were engaged with that. How was your experience back then? And what would you say? You already shared that it changed, but what was the biggest change?
I mean, at that time, there was one topic, which was internet. Yeah? And, this was the early days of internet. E-commerce was kind of like, wow, eBay. Yeah. And I remember we had Mark Sumber. That's one of the German internet guys you probably don't even know anymore. At that time, that was the hero. Yeah, he and his brothers brought eBay to Germany and sold it back to eBay after 6 months for the crazy amount of 15 million D-Mark. Yeah, and this was for us like, wow. Yeah? Nowadays, an average Series A is 15 million. It's not an exit anymore. Yeah, so the numbers definitely got much bigger. Yeah. But I think the spirit is the same. Entrepreneurs, they test the new, they are the avant-garde, and that's not different than from the time then. What I think is very different today is all the tools you have at hand when you want to build a company. I mean, building a company now, you almost do online, within days. You have all the knowledge of the world at your fingertip. Nowadays, with AI, you don't even need too many employees. You can delegate one hell of it. So I would say, it's not easier to be an entrepreneur because it's more competitive, but it's definitely easier to found a company than it was in 1998, 1999 or so.
Considering these new challenges that arise and the bigger field that startup is these days, what would you tell young people how to put their first foot down?
Well, first of all, don't wait. Yeah? So the idea that you need some formal whatever career before that you need to join a consulting company or investment bank before you become an entrepreneur, that's silly. The learning curve you have as an entrepreneur is super high, and you will not get the relevant experiences in a corporate career. So if you know that you want to be an entrepreneur, there is no sense in joining a corporate career. I'm not saying a corporate career is bad for those people who want to be a manager. Yeah? But if you want to be an entrepreneur, do it now. Opportunities costs go up. You miss a learning curve early on. So that's my main message here. If you have an idea, if you want to be an entrepreneur, do it.
In your career, you invested into energy transformation, then you switched to crypto, and now you're in the topic of longevity. So one could say you're an early adopter because you really spot the trends early on when they are still very niche, and then you are there when they become the big wave. What would you say? What is the next big market?
Global relocation. I mean, AI, of course, everything AI. AI is bigger than internet. When you think what internet has changed in the last 25 years, expect more and faster from AI. Yeah, but I think a trend which is overlooked right now is relocation. So the world is changing fast. We see risks compounding, which we would never have thought 5 years ago. So if you asked me 5 years ago, what was the biggest risk, I would have said climate change, which is a risk materializing in the next 50 years, and better prepare now. Now we talk about the potential of World War III, hopefully not. We talk about pandemics, we talk about social unrest, about AI supremacy, still climate change. Yeah? So where do you go where will a lot of people go? How do you prepare for that? And I think that's a topic which becomes much more relevant in the next 2-3 years, 5 years as well, than it is now.
Amazing. And then one last question for our young entrepreneurs. What is the university in your eyes already doing, and where could they improve to support these young people?
I mean, from what I can judge, I'm not a student anymore, but from the outside, I think University St. Gallen is doing much more for entrepreneurships. There is not only START, there is other initiatives as well. There is courses. I have the honor to teach myself a course this September and October about entrepreneurship, so you're very welcome to join there. I think that's great. What can universities like St. Gallen do more maybe? I think we could do more in terms of like venture fund activities. You know, that the university builds an endowment which invests in companies students found, not only the seed stage or pre-seed, but also, you know, bigger amounts going into Series A's and so on. It definitely would pay back. The endowment would be, if it's diverse widely enough, be successful. And it would help us to keep startups which are developed here in Switzerland, which I think we should do as a university.